which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, roll call, please.
Copeland.
Here.
Martin. Here. Coney. Here. Ready. Holtz. Here. Hess.
Here. All right, let the record show we have all members present this evening. If nothing to be changed, is there a motion to approve the agenda? Motion by Holt, second by Bow. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, council. Citizens participation. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to speak for citizens participation? Yes, sir.
I would like to see some crosswalks put on Highway 19.
Crosswalks on Highway 19. Okay.
Have anybody been wrong lately?
Yes.
Like Highway 72, they've got these new crosswalks where they put a concrete protection in the center turn lane. That way you don't have to cross one side of the highway at a time, wait for clearing. I know that's a MoDOT thing, but I'm sure it would have a little bit more weight on the city. But we really need one close to school down there so the kids can safely cross. We have that walk track at Georgia Pacific.
Right.
There's one somewhere around there. And somewhere between Casey's and Smokers Express. I mean, because it is a nightmare trying to get across that. I do a lot of walking, and it's like suicide every time you try to run across that highway.
Yeah, we don't want that.
So, I mean, we got the one little crosswalk in front of Macy's that has a sign with no blinky lights or anything.
Right. That's it and miss.
That's it,
Yeah.
except for the four-way. So.
No one stops to let anybody across.
Oh no, that's a target right there. So,
Rockland does have a lot of state law yield to pedestrian signs, where it's the law is you stop.
yeah, but I don't know if there's anybody who reach out to MoDOT to see if they can install something like that, but it'd really be beneficial for how busy that highway is in town. That's all I got.
When you prepare your minutes, could you reach out to the last one? Sure. See if you look into any of that. Oh, hey, Bill. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, obviously MoDOT would have to be involved, I'm sure.
They all have to be MoDOT, because that's all on MoDOT road.
Right.
We can get a hold of them and see what they'll do.
If you would maybe reach out to them, maybe see if you could have a representative attend the council meeting, maybe. I know sometimes they're difficult to work with. Not that they're difficult, they're just, they have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But if you could maybe reach out to a local representative and let them know that we'd like to talk to them, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tony. Anyone else here this evening for citizens participation?
You want to say it?
Sure, Jeff.
Okay. So we have a few things, and some of this will wait till you talk about budget. Matt and Jared are going to be working on Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday prior to the fair. Campers come in on Sunday, and they will be staying Saturday, Sunday, Monday, working on putting up water, doing some water work there. So they would like permission to camp those additional times from Saturday to Monday. So originally it's Tuesday to Sunday, so they want to add those additional days of Saturday to Monday. And currently it's at $120, which is $24 a night. And I wanted to see if you guys are okay with that. Do you want to add the additional $24 a night, or since they're working there doing the water stuff, can they do it at $150 for the entire time?
I would be fine with that. It's up to the council, but obviously they're there early to work and get things prepared for the fair itself, so they're not sitting there kicking back and relaxing. They're probably going to be busy and getting a lot done, so I have no problem with them coming in early.
Well, they're going to be getting a little bit of electric to run there.
Right.
Yeah.
I make a motion to do it for 150.
Okay, so motion by Honey to allow them to come in early, $150 flat rate. Is there a second to that? Second by Martin. Okay, Martin. And again, that was for a few individuals that you're aware of. And
Yeah, it's Jared and then Matt Ladd,
Oh,
our
okay.
fair board president, and they are right together, so I'll make sure that they know at City Hall which ones that they're on.
Just keep it down. Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't throw any attention or anything over there. But no, and thanks for doing the work.
Sure, no, thanks for allowing us.
Thanks for
We'll be out there on the 7th. So our goal is to be out there early on Saturday. We're going to string some temporary water along that fence to kind of cut down on the hoses and things. And I want to commend everyone from the city that has worked on this project. Everybody's done a great job. So we're going to get some water established, and then we have some other barn chores and arena chores to do.
Did you get the lights to hang in those barns?
Actually, we
No, because everything's working.
Somebody miraculously just fixed that, and it's just,
Master Andy.
just,
His people.
I think, maybe.
It's temporary.
But it's temporary. It's really nice. It's in good shape, yes.
So-
You're gonna depend on that one day, and it's not gonna be.
Absolutely, but we have a backup in place.
We do, and the thing on that is I'm going to let the extension know, which will let all the exhibitors know. And Andy and I discussed this today. We're gonna put a notice on the breaker box. No one is to flip breakers back. If there's a question, they call myself or Andy. No only fans in the barn, no blowers they have to use on a generator. All kinds of specific instructions there. Better communication so that we don't have anybody doing like they always do and flipping those breakers, so.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, to conclude that motion, yes. So yes, that's perfect.
So we do have 4 trucks lined up to load more, creek gravel to get our base started tomorrow, so that is lined up, and then we'll talk the other gravel, I guess, when we get to the budget.
Well, let's talk about it now.
Okay.
What's up with the other gravel?
So I have made some phone calls. I did call Capital Quarries in Cuba, and they do not have any 1-, 2- or 2-inch clean. They only have 1-inch clean, and that is at $13 a ton. They will not have any other rock until the end of August versus September. Sullivan only has 1-inch minus at $9.75 a ton.
You don't want some.
I've been told that numerous times.
So with that being said, and Kevin, feel free to chime in, is there a need for that additional rock at this point in time, or is there even any reason to worry about it if we can't even get it right now?
I mean, that's the problem, and Jared had offered, to have help with
Right.
hauling, but can't leave it now.
I would like to see us leave the rock appropriations on the table just real quick, like, and see if we can come up with some sort of miracle from either Sullivan, from FF, or out here at Cuba to see what we can actually get done. But I know from a county perspective, I know we've had a lot of issues, a lot of restriction on rock the past couple of months. But however, miracles do happen from time to time, and if there's a way that we can make this happen, it sure be a lot better than making a muddy mess out there. Especially where we've done some of the electric work, where your guys have done electric work and worked yourself to death. I'd sure hate to see that get all muddied up and messed up.
So from our budget standpoint, I think it was looked at, and Jen, correct me if I'm wrong, or Tanya, it was looked at to where you could possibly include that $10,000 in case it was needed. I know we didn't pass a budget yet, but we
It was for
discussed.
this year's budget, not, it was this year's budget, not next year's.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So it's there for current,
Sounds
till
like,
the end of the month.
yeah. But could we not just carry that over if it's not spent? Consider it money that was budgeted that was not spent on this budget and have it available on the next fiscal year?
Not really. I mean, money not spent, yes, but we would have to revise the budget to include it in the next year.
Understood. Would that probably be the best route at this point, though, is revise the budget to include it, since we know we're probably not going to be spending it in the next 10 days?
Are you taking that out of parks or capital?
What was discussed originally?
Capital improvement tax.
Capital improvement?
So do you think it won't happen before the end of the month?
I don't want to say it won't, but
Yeah,
we gotta find the rock. That's the.
Well, if it's already in the 2023 fiscal year budget for the next 10 days, if you come up with something, let us know, right?
Yes.
If we expire this budget and we're on a new one, then we can always do a budget revision to include it. So we can come up with it if you come up with it.
I know the budget.
And then you guys are gonna have to, if you guys can pull it, that would be
Sure.
the other thing.
I know yes, we're not asking for any assistance on the hauling. We're asking to spend the bulk of the money on the actual product itself. So that's not an issue. We've got the trucking lined out, whether it's, it is the county fair, it just happens to be seated in Cuba, which we are appreciative of that. The county tries to do its part as well, so others should.
If you work your magic, let us know.
We're trying. We've been trying.
But no, that's right. So if we can come up with it, it's good to know that we have the funding available. We'll spend it as wisely as we can.
Sure.
If we can find it.
Should be an issue.
So this should, phase 1, complete us at 57 total electric spots. And we do have a temporary generator that Jared is gonna get from West Sullivan. And that will add 6 additional, and then we'll just work with generator spots on the rest.
Very good.
So,
And then where you have the sticker permitting process is in the works.
Yep.
And you already
their
know.
last day of sign up is Thursday this week, and we already got most of them out.
I was gonna say, it's most everybody pretty well take a spot. Very good. It's gonna be much, much better this year.
Yes, and we even have cardboard people that are volunteering to help on Sunday get everybody in their spots.
Okay.
Let me get it right, though.
Is that-
They need the rock, we have the money, they need.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay.
If something happens, this budget expires, and we can do a amendment to the next budget.
I know that stuff. I respect the work that goes into amending the new one. I get it. So,
Jared, I got one question.
Yes.
The creek rock, of course, you got some life-size basketballs and some
Mhm.
sand. Do we have a roller or something to roll that in? Or-
so that's our plan. Our plan is we're using that to level out with. That's by no means the top coat or dress coat. That's just using it to level out the imperfections from where the trees and the stumps and all that came out. We're actually leveling it with that 963 and packing it in with that big high lift.
Just to run over.
That hence we were blessed to get some rain. We need some more rain. We were blessed to get that rain this weekend, and so that's why we waited to spread the rock out after that, and that 963 attracted it.
Awesome.
Alright, any
Thank you.
questions?
No.
Alright.
Again, thank you all. I appreciate it. These guys,
Thank you.
this whole group here, have been excellent to work with. We've held up our end of the deal.
Well, maybe we won't have to tell the fire department this year.
First it takes, much less twice. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here to see any for citizens participation?
Y'all don't mind, I'm gonna excuse you, go to the extension there. Thank you all for having us.
Tell them always say aye.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Regular meeting minutes of June 6, 2023. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Holman. Second by Grady. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Executive session meeting minutes of June 6, 2023. Motion to approve. Motion by Holman. Second by Grady. All in favor say aye. Opposed? And special meeting minutes of June 15th, 2023. Motion to approve them. Motion by Martin, second by Bouse. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Brady and Honey abstain. Alrighty. Treasurer's report as well as the bills to be paid. Is there a motion to pay the bills? There's no questions about the bills. Motion by Bouse. Second by Grady. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Bills paid. Alrighty. North Industrial Water Park Loop Projects. This is our big looping project up around Barnett Park. Major capital improvement item here that we've been working on for a while now. We throwing any leftover ARPA money into this, or did we already?
It's all sewer.
All sewer, alrighty. Well, we do have some bids and a recommendation for bid approval from our engineer for this job, Archer Elgin. It looks like there were 5 bids submitted at the bid opening. I'll just run through them each one at a time. Just for the record, looks like we had a bid from Mid-State Pipeline at $234,665. We had a bid from Bloomsdale Excavating at $218,901. A bid from Logan Excavating, $184,023.06. A bid from PJ Myers Hauling and Excavating, $141,190. And a bid from Don Magai Construction at $120,829.50. Along with the individual bids, we have a recommendation from our engineering firm to accept the bid from the low bidder of Don Magai Construction in the amount of $120,829.50. Do we hear any motions? Motion to accept? Okay, motion by Bouse to accept Don Magai Construction. Is there a second? Second by Honey. Okay. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Bid is awarded. Thank you, council. Park and Rec Committee recommendations. Dave, Kevin, I know you guys had a Park and Rec Committee meeting last night. Southern Park Force here this evening. Is there any needed recommendations from last night's meeting?
The only thing that really that we can talk about here is we need a movie screen for a movie night. They want to buy one. I know that's probably not possible between now and the 1st of July. but, we need to come up with a movie screen so we can move that.
When is movie night?
So we're planning on doing it on, I think, June 30th, which would be next Friday, possible. We need a movie screen and the Bluetooth projector. Combination is gonna be anywhere from $350 combined, like total to $400 at the most. So
Okay.
$400. We'll probably bring that revenue for one night movie night. So I know the team that had over 100 teams just in that alone. So we should make what we spend in it. And, we'll have several movie nights over the summer.
Okay, well, the answer has to come from the budget committee over there, if you even have that money available right now. So I can't answer that question for you. And I don't know if you can right now, but perhaps you can look into it and let them know, in the next day or so.
And if it's not, can they put it on a Walmart credit card and order on Walmart, because then they go into the next month and pay on the next budget?
Is that
No,
protocol?
it will still be posted. I mean, if you buy it in June, it's gonna be posted in June, even if we don't receive the bill until July.
Understand. Well, would you mind taking a look?
We will.
See if they have anything and reaching out to Cindy or Laney or Cindy or whomever. We'll see what we come up with. We're just down to that last final part of the budget, so things are tight.
Right.
Or move it to July.
Right.
Yeah.
So because with all the birthdays, we try to make that open for like people with their children. We have like certain days set, that way we can allow for. So if we can, that'd be great. If not, like, when's the new budget was physical, it's July 1st.
Yep.
So on July 1st, we could maybe order it and get it expedited and just move the day a week. Would that work?
I might have one.
I
might have one.
Or that.
Projector, if you can't move your night, let me see.
Yeah, that'd be great, yeah, as long as.
I think I have two actually.
That'd be great, because as long as it's like Bluetooth, because those speakers that we have, they're Bluetooth it, and then all we need is a screen, which is like $125.
I literally think I have two.
We're gonna.
Never used the one.
We're gonna.
I'll check it out, I'm making cheap.
So a couple different options.
Here's
Like,
my-
see if Laney has something,
And if you look at
see if you have the funds, if not,
And if you look at Civil, they actually just did a foundation of, like, they did a permanent fix of a screen, kind of, they built it up, maybe something to look at in like the future.
you're right.
But the one that we're looking at is like $135 it's 25 feet by high, by 44 feet wide. So even if we do that something later on, we always do movie night park like Louisville does.
Hmm.
And this is that, so we can always use it.
Yeah. We'll,
So I have a question about
Yes.
that. So even if they wait until July, is that something that you budgeted for, or is it?
We did the budget and the motion for our motion for you guys, yes.
But is it in the budget that you submitted for next year?
Yes, ma'am.
the projector and stuff.
I've seen it in here.
Yes, because we did that just in case.
When did you do that?
What, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, in our second, our emergency
It's not
executive meetings.
I don't think it was on the list, and it's not.
But what are we talking? I mean, how much, I'm sorry, $500?
Yeah, at the most, like $400 between, at the most.
Well, yeah, let's see if we can come up with it. If not, maybe we can borrow one. If not, I'm sure there might be an option 3 where somebody would probably buy it for the pool and get reimbursed later.
Right.
Something we need to look at though, is making sure the stuff is locked up over here.
Sure, yeah, we have storage there that we can.
Yeah, like the AED, I was under the impression when we bought that AED that we were gonna get a cabinet with an alarm on it for the AED, to get it still
That's
sitting there.
because we were told that was if we didn't have budgeting for that, and we proposed that in the next budget. So we are going to get that, and we do have a extra storage, room at the facility, the pool that we can lock it up and say that after the pool season is over, we can always move it somewhere more secure. That way it's just not at the pool if you guys want. And it folds up, it comes with a case, it's inflatable, it flates up in 3 minutes, flates down in 3 minutes, actual screen, and then the Bluetooth, movie projectors are only big, so it's small, it's compact.
Is that what you have?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I have 2 movie projectors too, so I was just gonna use for mine, but mine are Bluetooth, it doesn't sync up Bluetooth. Because you have to have Bluetooth to speak to the speakers where they go on the opposite sides of the pole where it's parallel, or when you are floating, you can hear the word of the movie.
Do we have the Wi-Fi capability down there to support that?
Yeah, we have Wi-Fi, you can always run more if you need to, but it's Bluetooth, it's not Wi-Fi.
Gotcha.
But we can do Wi-Fi and run it, we'll have to do, we'll have to run it to Wi-Fi for the Bluetooth, you can figure that one out. Right, Tony?
Can these projectors and everything that you wanting, can they be sourced locally, or is it something you need to order?
Probably need to order it, I mean, I don't know, I could call around Louis, and if it is in St. Louis, I can.
Well, you probably get Amazon stuff shows up.
Yeah, I know, and we have Amazon Prime, we go almost order it, and then get it, if you need to get it ahead.
I don't think you're gonna find a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, one of my screens is pretty big, I don't think it's that big.
Because what I was looking at, like the diameter of the pool, we really need something that has the width and the height of it, where you can see from, parallel sides of it. So we really need a 24 by 24, because if not, it's not gonna make sense, you're not gonna see it, you're gonna float in the water, like, level with it, so.
All right, well, more to come on that.
Okay.
See if they have money. If not, let me know. We'll come up with a plan.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Is there anything else besides that for now?
No.
And then obviously in another 10 days, you'll be working on a new budget, then you can bring us all of your fund recommendations. Up to, yes. Very good. Water sewer department, water department labor position. I'm going to assume that's probably going to be tabled until we have a budget and salary table finalized. Is there any other thoughts on that? I mean, if you guys are ready to, is there a motion on that, or are we tabling that?
I would recommend we table it. We might not have it.
That's what I kind of figured would be the case. I just wasn't sure if there was a meeting held and if there was any other recommendation right now on that position.
Mr. Mayor is going to work, it's not tabling, tabling is a different thing. It actually kills, takes it off. I think what you want to do is postpone anything, any further action.
Postpone any further action on the water department labor position until further notice. Very good. Do we need a motion for that, or just simply state that that's what we're doing, Lance?
Say that again.
Do we need a motion for that, or just simply state that we're eliminating that right now?
If no motion is made, you don't have to do you don't have to have a motion to not do anything. Just don't make a motion.
Gotcha.
Put it on the next agenda.
Police chief. Yes, sir. Oh, Randy, you got something?
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you're tabling that, we're not.
It's not tabled.
What's the money for later this meeting?
Possibly. I have no idea what the outcome of our budget conversation is going to be. That's kind of why I'm alluding to this.
Okay. My only question was, if you're tabling it for later, do I continue trying to add them, or do we wait to
Right now, Adam is we have already hired Adam to be our pre-treatment supervisor, so until further notice, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Police chief.
From the police department, federal ordinance complaints on Monroe, Southwest Main, Marshall School, Oakville Avenue, Road. There's a couple other ones, all grass, towards the sun here. We got the contact info for a lot of the people on the property, and they can contact them to correct the situation.
Very good. Any nuisance questions or?
I just put a whole batch of them in the box in there at Doug's box.
Where is chief? Had the day off?
No, he had another engagement.
Got it. Very good. Anything to mention? Thanks, sir. All right. Fiscal year 2024 budget discussion. So some of us, or 4 of us, were able to attend on last Thursday for a special meeting just to have a budget presented to us, basically for the first time. That budget was balanced. However, I knew there was going to be some potential changes to that on line items, on funds, and salaries, potentially. Don't know if you guys have any specific changes at this point in time, or if you would just like to hear from the council on any recommendations that they might have that might be different from what was presented on Thursday. Do you have anything specific that was brought to you that you'd like to speak on?
Actually, there's a couple of things that we need to make a decision on.
Okay.
And we'll just start from the top. The transfer from Parks Funds to Grounds Department, we didn't implement that after our conversation. It was, what, 50,000? It was 50,000,
From parks to what?
From the parks to the Grounds Department to cover their work that they do in the Parks Department. So that is in the budget. I just wanted to make sure everybody was comfortable with that. 38% of the Grounds Department budget is
when you're talking about the park budget and ground budget, are you talking about the park tax using into the grounds? Can we do this, Lance, legally?
I'm not sure what we're talking about.
I think it was
You're gonna have to
mentioned,
be a little more specific.
I think it was brought up at Thursday's meeting to look at the laborer. You know, I think was the idea. Can any of that money be spent?
Question, because I have to remember, there was a specific statute that we referenced in our parks tax, which I have to go back and look, because it's not like in the parks portion, it actually comes out of a weird section where they allow for a parks tax, but the section of statute comes from, something like sewers.
Okay.
Don't ask me for the explanation, but I'm gonna have to read that section of statute again before I can answer that question. My initial response is if it's for maintenance of the parks, yes. But that's an answer that needs to be verified.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that I can do it tonight, but I'll use the internet and see if I can find your answer.
Okay, so hold that thought until further advice from our attorney. But that was the idea, right? Take some of those monies from the park tax to pay the ground labor, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What else you have?
All right, so, uniforms, we had the question on the uniforms of doing a uniform allowance versus, the UniFirst. And that would be a $5,000 savings. It is not in the budget currently to make that change. That needs to be hashed out before.
Are we in any type of contract currently with a uniform company that requires us to purchase anything for this year or next year or anything like that? Do we know? Or have we ever entered a contract? Maybe we just buy as needed or annually or?
We had a contract in place years ago, but I don't know how
Okay.
outdated it is. It's probably an annual renewal.
I'm all for the savings. I don't think you guys usually really wear much of that uniform stuff. Now's a good time to hear from you guys because it's your work stuff. My only thing I would like to see is just make sure you guys all get something that kind of matches. We want our city employees to be identified out in the community. You know, especially with the folks that have to knock on doors for utility type stuff. We want to be identifiable as a city entity. Yes, sir.
We figured, I went around asking, we pretty much discussed that all the shirts would be the same.
Yeah.
Get the shirts in the same spot, jeans and all that other stuff. I don't really think it matters.
Sure, yeah, just, nice, decent looking blue jeans. I mean, you're gonna get them dirty, tear them up, right? I totally get it. But yeah, some shirts that are identifiable. City of Cuba needs to stand out, safety colors or whatever. But what was that put in there as was X amount of monies per year to each employee compared to purchasing from the uniform company?
Purchasing from from a uniform company, and then versus a $400 uniform allowance annually.
Okay.
$5,000.
But that has not been reflected?
It is not in this budget. I think it's too soon. I mean, because, we still have the uniforms.
Right.
Until we get that worked out. You still have maps and mops. You're still going to have to use a uniform company. You want to keep the maps, the mops, the shop towels, all of that stuff was not in that calculation.
Okay.
It's strictly uniform.
Gotcha. What else you have? Go ahead. Sorry.
Bill and Alan, you both are wearing uniforms. What's your thoughts on it?
I told them it didn't really matter to me. I wear the uniforms all the time, but if everybody else would want to go with it, I'm not gonna stand in the way of it or anything, so,
Same thought.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if there's no real savings, again, for the mops and the mats and everything else that they're doing, then we might as well just keep doing it, I guess. But I suppose more to come on that, or would you like the council to direct you in form of motion?
I don't think
No? Okay.
I think just
Fair enough.
informational right now.
Gotcha.
The 5,000, it's like.
Okay.
The waterworks, $5,000 wage increase per employee, we never really addressed that on the last meeting.
Okay.
It is in this budget. Just wanna make you aware of that, and so you'll need to either
Well,
approve that or not.
What was the reason for that?
Because the waterworks department requires certification, the employees in the waterworks department, the water committee felt that they should also have an increase, like we did with the natural gas and that's the way it was explained to me.
It was presented to them by the committee, internal. Wasn't an external recommendation.
Anybody over there that doesn't have certification?
I don't know.
Gas does, water does, electric does,
Correct.
so we're talking $5,000 for 30 people?
No, I think it was for the water and sewer was what was presented to you.
That's correct.
And then if that's the case, under umbrella of waterworks, if that was to go through, I would recommend doing it for the pre-treatment as well.
Do we not pay for these certifications?
Yes. So, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone. I think here's what happened, because I learned of this last Thursday as well. If you remember a year ago, possibly 2 years ago, we increased our structure, our tiered pay for electric and natural gas, lineman certification, journeyman, things like that. The street cost for those types of laborers is, we were not in line with that. So we increased electric and we increased natural gas. At that time, the council did not increase water and sewer the same way. I think Lenny presented on his budget worksheet to include those raises for his crew as well. Based on what I think was just basically his recommendation. So that's up to you guys.
So is that in lieu of a pay raise or less than a pay raise?
In addition to, they were asked, we were asked to put it in addition to the raise.
Addition to, so that would be
Well, if you look at your salary, if you look at your salaries, Dave, and you go through some of those, you're looking at nearly a 30% pay raise for some of the employees.
My question on that is the jump, the tiers. So, out of 10, 11, 12, and I see in the last 2 or 3 years that a couple more tiers have been added onto the bottom of that. It seems to me like that's a big jump from I think they're at 12 maybe now. They're on 12, and this takes them almost to 16? That seems like a lot. It seems like a big jump. My question is, according to the original study that we did, those raises are, a raise is appropriate, but the amount is pretty clear, and how it works is pretty clear. So if we're moving them to another level, they are to get 7% more than what they're making, unless the starting salary for that tier is less than what they're making now, they get 7% increase of what they're making now. So I don't know what 7% of what they're making now would come to, but that's what it says.
That would be the structure of the current tier, or the current study. So this would not be in line with any of that, obviously.
I don't know.
It wouldn't be. It's just basically a raise.
And it provides for that. I go through years of service or more education, I would call certification more education. So certainly they would be entitled to that, but like I said, it's pretty clear what the amount is. So when you figure what 7% would be.
Well, you're saying you're following a pay scale that we got right now on this?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Debbie's bringing it to the attention that the 5,000 would not comply with our current
That's what she's
schedule.
saying.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, in addition to that, which might be next on your list, I don't know, would be the general cost of living increases or the potential for that. What do you have there?
All right, so the COLA this year is 8.7%. And the budget does include the 8.7%. I have been asked to provide a schedule with $1.50 per person per hour. So that's in your packet also. And then there's another one that's 4.9% inflation. So you'll have the COLA step raise, which is in our budget. You have the 4.9% inflation in step raise. And then you have the $1.50 per hour per employee, also schedule.
Okay, so it looks like obviously at the very top, 8.7%, which in the $5,000 increase. If you go from 8.7 to 4.9, it'd be a reduced cost of $97,687, correct?
Yep.
And if you go to $1.50 across the board, it'd be a reduced cost of $140,355.
That's correct.
Okay.
Is that, those reductions, is that straight salary or is that benefits been?
That's including the benefits. Of course, the health, your life
Would stay the same as the
and your
retirement,
dental will be the same. It's your,
but it doesn't include the retirement.
the retirement changes, yes. Taxes.
My recommendation would be to go with $1.50 across the board, get rid of the pay scale, restructure, and do instead of these percentage raises every year, which we were told hurts the budget every year, and we restructure our job descriptions and do starting pay for each department. That you hire somebody in electric, they start with this, gas, water, and that will keep, it won't be such a nightmare on these ways, trying to figure that budget every year with those percentage raises.
Well, we have a salary schedule that works, if we stick to it, right? You can add cost of living into that, and you can move the whole salary schedule forward, and it's still the same as it was before you added the cost of living. What throws that off is, $5,000 increases that kind of throws things way askew. But we have that. I mean, you know what you're going to start with, you know what your job is, so we just need to figure out what type of raises we want to give you. Because everything else will move with it, right?
Do we have any idea where healthcare coverage is gonna go up in this year?
It increased a little bit on this past budget, and then once we move forward into this next budget, I'm sure we budgeted probably the same plus inflation cost.
Personally, mine went up 15%.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be another increase.
We got a 3% average increase. 5.7% inflation on general expenses and all funds.
Again, council, raises aren't given unless they're passed by this board, so we need to determine how that's gonna be done. My recommendation to you guys is to take the recommendation of the comptrollers here, and we need to pick something, establish something, and make that what we do every year. Whether we pick a percentage for cost of living, and that's what it is every year, or pick $1.50 across the board, and that's what it is every year. We need to pick something and stick with it, right? It's hard to argue cost of living because that's just it's an accurate reflection of the world we're living in, and it helps people make sure they're continuing to get the pay that they need to keep the same quality of life, buy the same products at the store, etc. That's why cost of living exists. So what I would like to see happen personally, and I don't make motions, but I would like to see some form of cost of living be implemented, maybe be made into an ordinance form that when it comes to every year salary schedule and every year raises, everybody's going to get cost of living. And you can get creative with it, whether you pick a number or you say cost of living no less than 2.5%, no greater than 6.5%, right? That protects the city from 8.7% years, and it protects the employees from 2% years. You can draw it up any way you want. We just need to pick something and stick with it. And then every year we already know what it's going to be. And the employees already know what it's going to be. And the comptrollers already know what it's going to be. Rather than, I've seen so many different ways in my 8 years here, whether it's $1 or whether it's $2,000 or whether it's 5% or whether it's there's never been a set way for raises, and we end up having these conversations every year.
Every year.
We need to pick something and stick with it. My opinion, cost of living is a tough thing to argue. 8.7 is super high, but you know, we can't help inflation. But there is a concern is how long can we sustain high cost of living raises every year, right? Because our revenues aren't going up anymore from our utilities or our sales tax. So we don't want to price our salaries where we can't afford them and then we have to cut positions or whatever. But that's where I think maybe you could build in that no less than and no more than cost of living. And we could actually put that into an ordinance form. And it could always be changed by future councils.
You know, I think what the private sector looks at is, especially when we fall into a year like this, when you got a court raise, they can't sustain that 8.5% one jump 1 year. So they will look at a 5 or a 10-year average, and they will try to catch it up to that 8.6. You know, is what they're going to try to do. They can't do it in 1 year to give everybody the inflation raise that they need, right? So they project that out 5 years and say, hey, look, you know, next year it may be the 1.5 and the 2, and then we may level out is what we may end up doing. So what companies have to do is they have to just plan for that going out and try to get ahead of it and catch it at some point in time.
I agree 100%, and unless we establish a system to do every year,
right,
we can't do that. Because it's just been so unpredictable on how we're going to deal with wage increases every year.
Private sector cannot capture the COLA.
Yeah, I don't know how we could sustain $3.5 million.
You cannot do that.
No, it's definitely a huge concern.
This pay scale and these percentage raises, every year have us talking about having to raise rates on our citizens. Can't do that. That's to make.
We're gonna have to eventually.
So you can't do that to make payroll.
If
we did the $1.50 across the board, restructured and starting pay for each department, and every year it was open to whether we could get a $500 raise or a $2,000 across the board raise. It would make it a whole lot easier on the comptrollers.
Here's my thoughts on the cost of living. First of all, Missouri has the 4th lowest cost, even though the federal is 8.7. Missouri has the 4th lowest cost of living, so we're giving cost of living raises based on people in Philadelphia, basically. Right. So that becomes an issue. The other problem I always have with percentage increases is the person who's making $100,000 and gets an 8% raise gets a bigger chunk than the person who's making $35,000. And the overall scheme of life, the person down here probably needs the 8.7 to pay the bills a lot more than this person up here. And they've earned to be, or they have a description on get making more money, but their jump is so tremendous compared to this. And if we're really doing this because we're concerned about the cost of living and then being able to stay current with the cost of living, there's a big discrepancy there, in my opinion. So I would kind of intend for right now to go with Jeff, and then I would really like for you to set some people in motion to study through this so that we're not coming up with this every year at budget time.
There needs to be something that every year is the same.
We need to know that in January.
I'm gonna make a motion that we do $1.50 across the board for everyone. And after we get the budget finalized, we have a meeting and we discuss this and look into what other towns are paying and set a pay scale for starting pay for each department, and we go from there. And do away with the percentage raises. We were told at the last meeting that they're a nightmare. And if we don't listen to our comptrollers, and that's my motion.
Okay. Motion on the floor for $1.50 raises for all full-time employees. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second. Does that include $5,000 increases for water and sewer right now, or you're talking about restructuring everything and re-looking into everything? So, but what we can't do.
I think that's a separate issue.
That's a separate issue,
Okay.
They
Needs to
do
be
need
separate
something,
motions.
they do need something.
Okay, what I don't want to see happen is if we go this route, then we run into what we ran into a couple years ago where we ended up not even having a salary schedule passed till like August. Because then we have to go amend our budget, we have to amend our salary schedule. If you're gonna do that, I would recommend going with your $1.50 for all employees if that's what you wanna do, but no increases until next year.
yeah. No increases till next year.
We can't all of a sudden in August say, okay, we feel like we want to go back and redo this whole thing.
I agree.
Because that's a nightmare in many, many ways.
But we haven't passed the budget yet, so until we do, I think we still have the opportunity for these people who have finished the
Yes.
certification to adjust theirs.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, those are two different things.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the raises for everybody. The raises for everybody.
Those
$5,000.
$5,000 bring us even across the board with everybody requires certification.
It was in the water department, and that's all I was aware of that required
But
certification.
gas and sewer and electric, they all got them already.
Right, the electric.
Water and sewer.
Water and sewer, okay.
That was 5,000.
And
Again.
treatment, water works, the entire water.
The water works. Pre-treatment, water, sewer.
Dave, we need to look at that.
Check, just keep in mind, we're running out of time, so get this, yes, Missy.
I just want to make sure that my permanent part-time people are included in the raise.
Did you consider permanent part-time 2,000-hour employees? Or whatever, 1,000-hour employees?
Just a minute, because yes to, I only have one full-time employee in animal control.
Yes, and then we have permanent part-time.
Alright,
They're proposing 8.7% increase on the last thing you gave us.
so I have an open position
Yes, it's been filled
that, no,
Oh.
is at the starting rate
in.
of 13,
Pardon?
at the starting rate of 13,
Yeah.
and then the other, you had a 15.
I asked for 15.
You asked for 15, yep. So
We
she,
got ahead of ourselves, Tanya, we got a person second on the board, I think, for something, that was.
Well, we do, but we need to know if that includes these people or not.
No.
That- if you include them, I'll just adjust it.
Yes, Jerry?
What about my part-time guys?
I guess this does not cover any part-time or full-time part-time in just motion, or would you like to amend your motion?
No, not in that motion.
Okay.
So I have one person that's been here 3 years that makes $13 an hour, and I asked to put her up to 15. The new position, I was going to I didn't ask for an increase on that position, but I mean, I just don't want to lose her. We have a lot of turnover in that position. She's been here 3 years and stepped up and done a great job while we've been shorthanded. And I don't see why a permanent part-time person that works all year round cannot be included in that.
Do they get benefits on other ones?
No.
What's the permanent part, if they don't get benefits?
They work 1,000 hours a year.
It's also different than your summer help, your summer
Right.
seasonal part-time. Permanent part-time means they work all the time, I mean, year round, but they only work this.
Yeah,
specified
20
amount of
hours.
hours.
Yeah, they get no benefits.
Part-time.
Yeah.
I think just motion and the second by Martin was, all full-time employees, full-time, $1.50 hour raise across the board, correct? Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we can address.
And then we can do separate motions for the other individuals. Okay. Well, we do have a first and a second on $1.50 across the board, full council.
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Connie,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Hogan.
Having a hard time with it, Jeff.
Huh?
Having a hard time with this one. We're gonna know.
Okay. So I guess that
You're
does,
probably right, Jeff, I don't know, but I.
so that does move 5-1 for $1.50 increases across the board for full-time employees. Is there any motion out there to extend this to the full-time, part-time employees?
So anyway,
Well, I was just looking at that.
How many do you have total? Two?
Missy, how much was your lady wanted, you wanted to give her a raise, how much?
She makes 13, I'd like to move her to 15 and keep the new hire at 13.
What about, Mark Friedman? He's a part-time.
There's a visitor center.
That's the officer?
Is-
Yes,
So-
yes, that would be a part-time officer.
So I make a motion to give Mark a permanent part-time. Okay, we'll make a motion to give Missy's permanent part-time and Mark Friedman $1.50 an hour raise as well.
Visitor center.
I'm sorry?
Visitor center. Just, why don't you make it a blanket for all full-time, part-time employees?
can we look at the,
How about we call it permanent part-time?
Permanent, part-time employees. Make it a motion for a
Unless you
blanket.
just want to raise one.
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
That are new hires.
but that'll raise her too, on the new person too,
Well,
but.
then I want one motion. Somebody else can put something.
I make a motion, we give the raise to all permanent part-time employees.
Okay.
I say that.
$1.50.
Motion by Melanie, second by Grady, to give all of the permanent, full-time, part-time,
Permanent part-time.
a $1.50 as well. Poll the council, please.
Copeland,
It's part-time and full-time part-time. So
It's
part-time,
permanent.
yes, I'll go with
Let's
that.
do part-time.
I'll go with this part-time stuff, I'll go yes on this one.
Martin,
Yes.
Tony, Grady,
Yes.
Folds, Russ.
And we're okay in the budget with that? Yes.
Now, what are we gonna do for,
Well, it would be $14.50 now.
No, she said she had one she wanted to leave at 13.
Well, it was, but.
But she just got a raise.
I'm sure she'll be happy about it.
Oh, I'm sure she will be, right?
Yeah, I mean, we just hired her.
What's your
Yeah, I don't even
recommendation?
know if we'll be for that.
What's your recommendation?
On the
On the part-time.
part-time, I would table that. I would not table. I would not discuss a raise for the seasonal employees that were just hired for this season.
I understand.
the next year we'll probably.
Yeah, but next year, I would certainly look at, when we talk about salaries, look at a, starting wage for your seasonal employees.
This is minimum wage. Right?
Well, it might be now. But we
So
would
they're not getting paid.
Not this year, just.
So everybody is getting the same amount of money, part-time, full-time, part-time, half-time, whatever.
Except
Everybody's
for,
getting the same money.
except for
Except
seasonal.
for seasonal.
Except for seasonal.
Except for seasonal.
I have another question.
Yes.
When we do talk about these salary studies, I know we've never done the part-time animal care attendants and the salary study. Is that something we could look into as well, Jeff, from what you were talking about?
What part-time help makes?
I mean, salary study, I think, and what we can compare
We have
somebody.
to go across the board with all the departments.
I feel like the whole wheel's getting reinvented right now. I'm not the one making the motions, you guys are. You want a committee to review it, you're gonna have a committee to review it, and I hope you guys come up with whatever you're looking for.
Here's the problem, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
We've spent several $1,000s on this,
Uh-huh.
and the first year, you might as well use it for toilet.
No, I
paper,
think I will.
Because we've ignored it, so we've reinvented the wheel ever since.
But then we compressed it, we had extra salary meetings, we changed salaries in August to try to get it back in line, and yeah, it's been a disaster, and then this doesn't go in line with it either, so something's gotta be figured out for next year.
So I have a question for him. Do you know how many people, or were there people that, other than the gentleman in the waterworks, that there was an anticipated move from one level to another level of salary? You know what I'm saying? Somebody else moving from maybe a level 19 to a 21 or.
So, are you talking about like waterworks appreciation?
Anybody know that let's say no, I'm talking about like the waterworks guys, they're still in the waterworks department. We're moving their position from here to a different pay level, like from a 12 to a 16. Was there someone else?
Two laborers and two supervisors.
Okay, so which supervisors, because?
Water and sewer.
Okay.
Be a water supervisor, a water laborer, a sewer supervisor, a sewer laborer, and then pre-treatment supervisor.
Pre-treatment is not in this budget.
But it needs to be if they're gonna do that.
We had.
It's all waterworks.
So pre-treat, go get supervisor or outfit or what? Is there something I need?
It's technically a supervisor position right now, as far as the scale goes.
So,
Right now it's 4.
okay, and so we have discussed hiring someone for the property management or a laborer for property management.
Yes.
All right, which is in salary schedule.
It is. Right now it's an open position.
And did we discuss putting them under the supervision of the grounds department?
I don't think that has been determined
Okay, so that's
officially.
something we need to determine before we set the budget.
Probably should.
Okay.
So was that, we also need to determine if we're gonna be using any of the park tax to pay the grounds labor. Because that might help answer that question, I guess, if we determine if we are or we are not doing that.
One other thing on what about like contract labor? You know, Steve and then Missy, your contract's annual. So their contracts state that they get whatever is given to the employees. And then Travis Pritchett, he doesn't have that agreement. Are we renewing Missy's?
So historically, if their contract that is current and in good standing with the city, if it states within that contract that they get any type of cost of living that the city gets, that they would receive that. We're gonna have to revisit that contract policy for next year's budget due to recommendation of our auditors. We obviously didn't have time to do that with the audit coming out whenever it did, but we do know that that process will look different next year.
So just to be clear, the airport contract, as far as I'm aware, that does not have that language, so he will not get the $1.50. Is that correct?
That would be correct, unless the council decides to make a motion to do that differently.
Right. So then that's the only questions I had, and everything we else talked about, the 4 points we talked about on Thursday were implemented. So that being the change in the property management labor, the target improvements were added, 5,000 to the security system, and then the grounds allocation, which we just discussed.
So what other loopholes do we need to close? Or shall we wait until you recommend we have another special meeting soon, or what do you need from us?
Nothing, I think, do you have any questions? The waterworks. What was the decision on waterworks?
On the $5,000 increases? Is there any motion for either way on if those are going to be extended or not?
If that'll bring us, and that was my question, will that bring us even across the boards with the other departments? If that's the case, I will make the motion.
What do you mean even?
I mean, are we gonna hear next week that the gas department now gets 13 cents less than water, and we're gonna have to do this again? Or are we even?
They have already, I don't think so, but I don't remember.
So that's a kind of one, until you know what that is.
Yeah.
Because if it's 4, then we have to revisit the $1,000 to somebody else.
Andy, what did you guys get?
I'm sorry, what are you talking about?
The bump in pay that we gave the electric department to get you up to snuff, is that about $5,000?
No, it's more than that. But the reason why was because your guys' salary for linemen was way the national underneath that national salary. You were almost you're apprentice level. You're paying your foreman and your journeyman apprentice level work.
Right.
So that's the reason why you adjusted the way you did. That was the whole argument. I was
Jimmy,
getting paid apprentice level work, but having to run town.
Okay. Jimmy, remember what the gas department got?
I think it was in that same guideline.
It was more than that. I went from 55,000, if you want to know, from 55,000 to 68,000, 380.
That's a supervisor line.
Yeah, but
Let's
I
talk about
want to say journeyman went more than that. They went from, let's see here. I think it was 21 an hour, 23 an hour to 31 an hour.
What you got, Bill?
Oh, I'm not trying to take anything from these guys at all, whatever they're gonna do, but you're gonna have to bring them up over a 19. So if you're gonna have Al, that's an assistant supervisor at 19, it's gonna be plus money.
Yeah, I
You
told
don't
him.
have that license, but if you don't bring these guys up to 20 or something to do that, then it's gonna be throwing your pay scale way out the window. Because he's at a 19, and they're at a 12 or a 16, or whatever you put them to, you know? And I'm not trying to take from them, they can have, you know, they'll stand up for my guy too, you know, while you're doing it, you know?
I think we should postpone that until we figure out exactly what the schedule is.
May I ask something here real quick? Basically, are we going right back to lumping everybody like the same again? I mean, if that's the case, if there's ever an opening in my position, nobody's gonna wanna come to that. They're gonna wanna go to these lesser, and I'm not.
So my guys don't have to work on water and sewer anymore, or on the gas anymore, or
Right.
you know?
Yeah, this is what happened.
So they, I don't want to open this up, but.
No, I mean, I knew this was gonna happen. Whenever I saw the increases in water and sewer, I knew this exactly was gonna happen.
I believe that we should do the schedule that we have right now and give them the 7% increase for their certification.
Okay.
And the $1.50 an hour that everybody else is getting. I don't know what that comes to, but that's what it says we do, so let's do it.
Okay,
My
so
motion is give them 7%. You're gonna revisit this if next year we say, you know what, then they're a year behind, but they're a year behind.
the so outside of the $1.50 an hour across the board, an additional 7% for the waterworks.
Yes.
That 7% represents what?
It represents what this study said we would give people for additional education. And I'm assuming they took classes or did something to get the certification.
2 years. Adam and I both did 2-year apprenticeship program.
Okay.
So you did that, you would move up the next level. And our study says you can move up the next level, you at least get 7%.
If they met the criteria to move up, then they need to be paid for that. Absolutely.
I'm saying that if that's what the salary says, then we're late in even doing it.
Yeah, sounds like it.
As far as I'm concerned.
Late as in.
When they reach that certification.
Should have done that.
Right.
Did you guys, when did you get yours? It's been recent.
I got mine in July,
Okay.
almost a year ago.
Were we informed? I mean, I think if we're not.
We don't graduate until August 11th.
And that's kind of what we were waiting on.
We were just wanting to completely graduate the whole program. Then when we're done, we were gonna, present it to you guys.
That's how I see that working. Once they get their certification, it's not a budget thing. It's already there. It's already in it. We've already voted this in. Once they reach that, they get that.
We have all.
Okay, so motion for the waterworks to water supervisor, water labor, sewer supervisor, sewer labor, pre-treatment operator, 7% increase.
Did they all?
When they get the
So that's the next tier. Is that what will be the next, it's not the next tier.
The tiers don't come out like that.
Well, like the next, okay. Like the next step. I'm just trying to make sure I have it in my thing right. Okay.
So there's no tier, it's not open yet. So the 15, 16, and just give you 7%, is that what you're saying?
When they get their certification.
When they get their
We have them, I mean, we got them at the shop, we need to bring them in, we can.
Cody, that's what we did in the past.
Yeah,
We have them.
And I'm gonna go with that. If that's what we've done in the past, and we still got everything in place, I'll go with that 7%. That is fair, we've done in the past. Okay. Like it or not, I like it or not, I don't know if I like it or not, but I'm going to be fair, that's what we've done in the past, that's what I'm gonna do.
Is that what we've done in the past?
Apparently, we did, after they moved up, they got 7%, I don't know, that's what I'm trying to figure out here for Tanya.
The ordinance.
Is that what we mainly do?
That is what is in the ordinance, yes.
I think that's what's in the orders. I think it is too. I'm thinking now. I believe that if anybody goes against something,
All right.
7%.
We have a motion on the table by Marvin to increase the waterworks employees by 7%. Let's see if there's a second, otherwise there's no point. Is there a second? All right, now go ahead.
That, on your certification, what does it say?
What do you mean, which one?
The one you just got,
C?
was it class C?
Yeah.
So it's water license.
So, sewer license. I'm on the sewer department.
Yeah, but what, how about the water?
Mine, I got a DS3 and a treatment heat, and then we got OSHA and
Yeah, we got-
everything else.
Again, we can present you with everything we have.
I just want to know what the certification was. And you answered that. Okay.
Anything else you want to add to that? We feel comfortable with that motion? Yes, sir.
Is it 7% for all 4 or 2 people?
Would it be 5?
As they get their certifications.
As they get their certification, that's.
I think go into the orders. Yeah.
Retreat doesn't have certification, correct?
Has several certifications.
I would think so.
Treatment has several certifications.
And once they get certified, they need to train it up and let us know.
Same thing.
What's the certification for pre-treatment? They have to have a certification, I just didn't know what it was. And you said he's already got a certification. That's a wastewater certification.
It's very frustrating. But don't some of them already have it? So, right?
Yeah.
Whenever they got it. They should have.
Unless it.
Okay. So, sounds to me like the motion is to give them the already deserved 7% increases because they received their certifications.
I think the only ones, the recent ones were, Matt taking out the vehicles.
Yeah, Glenn and AJ already have theirs, right? You guys are in those roles.
Right. Right.
Are we gonna do capital improvements?
You guys
Is this one done? I mean, I don't.
No,
I think so.
the motion was 7% for the individuals who were receiving these new certifications? Just the 2?
They didn't get just said they didn't get their compensation for getting that either.
Well, we got to look at that.
Doesn't
I don't either, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it just happens. Right. Automatically. So this originally, whenever the comptrollers asked for budget worksheets, they were handed items that they would like to be put in. On the water and sewer department was $5,000 increases for all 4 of those positions. That's what they asked for as the employees themselves to the comptroller. That's why we're seeing this reflected here. The question is do you want to give them that or do you not want to give them that? That's the question. Right now we have a motion and a second to offer 7%. And Debbie ought to you have to forgive me, was that for all of them, like this $5,000 was meant for, or just for the 2 that will be getting certifications, or have just reached certain new certifications?
Well, as with the last time we did this, I really think there needs to be a lot more thought going into this right now. The guys who got the certification deserve the 7%.
Without a doubt.
That's those 2 guys right there. I'm not sure what the other 2 are basing their $5,000 request on, if it's because the people are supervising, they felt, you know, if they got 5,000, then it would be the fair thing to do. I get that. Or if it makes people that are working for them higher paid than they are. Again, I don't know. I'm not, Glenn and AJ, what were your thoughts on why you?
We're currently doing the job of supervisors for the departments.
I get that,
We didn't have the opportunity to go to this 2-year commitment, to go to this training course. We didn't have the opportunity to go to it, so we had to go out and get our own licenses, we had to go out and get our own education, plus years of service on the department, and figure out how to do this job. And we've done that, so we wanted to be included in the $5,000 raise.
And when did you do that? Just, I mean, have you had your credentials for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Because somewhere during that time period, obviously, this study brought you up to where
15 is what I've had.
brought you up where the market, where they said the market value was. So in doing that, your wage should have been reflected in there.
It was in that salary study.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was already all included.
Yeah, so your certifications were taken into consideration when the salary study was done 3 years ago.
Yes. And these.
Well, but it wasn't though. I didn't get evaluated on this back when we done that.
It's like they did 50 days ago.
Right.
He was brought up and they should have been.
I mean, the clear and simple thing, Glenn, and correct me if I'm wrong, whenever you did your salary worksheet was $5,000 for everybody, because the electric and natural gas got big raises a couple years ago, correct?
Correct.
There's your answer. That's why they wanted it, because they got it. Not anything else,
And
because they got it.
And actually, it's less than what they got.
I understand that, but that's where it came from, right? There you go. There's your answer. There's your answer.
No. So my motion is for the 2 who completed their certification to get a 7% increase in addition to the $1.50 an hour. What you want to do with the others?
Well, that's okay for those 2. Motion in a second. Poll the council, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Honey?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in the ordinance.
Yes.
Okay, so the gentlemen who received their new credentials will get that they're deserved and already should have gotten 7% increases. Is there any motion for any other increases at this time in the water works? Okay. Hearing none. So that should be answer the question of $5,000 increases or not. For waterworks, sounds like that's not happening. Correct? Right, folks? Okay. What else do we need to address for you guys? That's it?
I have, I think, at least a pretty solid answer for the first thing that we said. So, I think as long as it is labeled as that it is maintenance for the parks, I think you can do it. Because it said, the statute says maintenance, or it says for any purpose, as long as it's for the parks. And it's also in the enabling ordinance. I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but when I write ordinances, I typically do it in general fashion, so my expectation is yes. I also want you guys to understand that the reason it's hard to find that sometimes, that particular tax comes from chapter 644, which is about water pollution, which is not where you normally go looking for park tax.
So it can be funded that way, correct?
Yes.
And then that individual, when hired, will go under the grounds department under the supervision of the grounds department, is that correct? Or will he be under the supervision of any department or be on his own?
Of the grounds, it'll be in the grounds department. We just, calculated the amount of time worked in the parks.
Tanya, how much out of park department?
Oh, the property management.
Yeah,
Okay,
because.
sorry, the property management person? Yeah, is in the property management department, the supervisor can be anybody, that you designate.
Okay.
Sorry.
So based on that, I would suggest that that person be put under the supervision of the grounds. Because right now, the person who's supervising the grounds, I think is getting all the calls of this furnace doesn't work, that doesn't work, and just can check that. It's already doing that work. And so this new hire, I think would be best placed under that department. And if that is the case, then I would recommend that supervisor, who's probably the lowest paid supervisor on the salary schedule, be bumped up to a 21.
Let me catch up with you. So Jerry, what Debbie was stating there was, come on up. So we put in the budget this year for a property management position to have somebody in that role to be able to do those duties, right? Because everybody's been having to kind of pick up and go fix what needs to be fixed, right? With that position being budgeted for, Debbie's recommending having that person report to you as a supervisor. Because you've been fielding a lot of the calls of, hey, this building needs this or this needs that as the ground supervisor already. And then you can sort of help direct what they need to do. Yeah. And I think the second part of her recommendation was to look at your salary, correct, and to increase it potentially from a what to a what?
I think he said 19, which I can't tell you what the dollar amount is. To 21 because of taking on additional responsibilities as well as additional personnel.
No, wait a minute here. He's a supervisor as it is. No matter how many guys fall under him, he's still a supervisor. I'm not taking that away from you, Jerry. I'm trying to figure out why we want to.
Because he's the lowest paid supervisor there is, and we're giving him a whole other department to supervise.
It ain't a whole one, it's just one guy. Just put the guy under his department.
It was always more than one guy, it was a minimum of two. Now you're cutting down to one.
Yeah, right now we have 0. We're trying to get it back up to 1.
It's always a 2.
Things we can fix.
Right, 1 and 2. Yeah, Joe and whoever. Roger.
So you have a motion on the floor?
Sounds like the motion was to put the property management position, the new hire, under the supervision of the ground supervisor, correct? And then to increase the ground supervisor's tier from a 19 to a 21.
Which again, I don't know how much that would amount to, but it's the 7%.
Okay.
Just like we did with the others, we were losing 7%.
Again, keeping track of the record. That was the motion.
Try to do it 3 years.
Second.
There's a second.
I'll second the motion.
Make a motion and a second for the soon-to-be hired property management position to go under the ground supervisor and to increase the ground supervisor's salary from a 19 to a 21. Should we do that in 2 separate motions? Should we disagree to have the ground supervisor supervise that position and get that set in stone before we talk salary, or can we entertain the motion that's on the table?
I think you can entertain the motion that's on the table. The 2 things are linked.
Okay.
It's not 2 separate things. It's you're doing this, and because of this, you have to do that.
Okay. Poll council, please.
Gus.
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Cobain.
Not against you, Jerry, but no.
Okay, motion moves 5-1. So you reflect that in your notes. That'll have to be an adjustment made obviously on that salary. But that's it. Anything else you want us to talk about up here for you, or do you have enough for now?
We were good.
Okay. What you'll need to do is make those changes, I suppose, and then set up another special meeting for us to go ahead and formally make a motion to approve this budget and salary schedule. Once that has been completed, Lance will need to get it in your hands for ordinance form, correct?
I'll draft an ordinance approving the budget, because that's a pretty general ordinance.
Okay.
So we'll have it ready.
Just working on a short window here that we've got 10 days left in this month.
Yep.
Because it needs to be, both readings need to be read prior to July 1, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I will have a proposed ordinance to Laney by the end of the week, if not before.
Okay. But I suppose you can go ahead and work on that, but we haven't voted to approve this yet.
Understood.
Okay.
Again, it's a pretty generic ordinance. You take what you've approved and you attach it to my ordinance.
And can we do that in the same meeting?
Yes.
Very good. So
Okay,
let us know.
I gotta ask you one thing here.
Yes.
We're gonna use some of the park tax to pay for health. Correct? How much park tax money are we using?
It was somewhere around 50,000.
50,000. Okay.
Mr. Copley, if it's for the maintenance of the park, I don't think there's a concern.
We couldn't pay for grass cutters and get them for that. So we
You can use it for any purpose as long as it is for park purposes. Maintaining the park would be a park purpose.
It's just 50,000 less that they'll have to spend on other things.
How much was that?
Yeah, we just got 50,000 for the park, that's what I'm saying.
Much. That don't make much for park. They'll be all right? Okay.
Okay. What was the question you had?
Well, I'm on a lot of committees and I see admin here, real estate purchase, $125,000. What is it?
I think that was put in as requested Alderman Copeland.
What's that?
However, the budget certainly isn't fine.
What's it?
I would ask Alderman Copeland that question.
$125,000 for real estate?
I didn't hear it.
$125,000 for real estate?
Yes.
What's it for?
It's, just in case these property has to come up. You never can tell when a great opportunity may come up. As in the budget, I appreciate it, it ain't hurting the budget right now. Unless you have better idea, $125,000.
Why couldn't we just leave the capital improvements and then vote on it?
Because
Should we need
it
it?
won't be in the budget if something comes up. We want it in the budget ready to go. We have to revise it.
How about this baby slide thing for the pool? That's the first I've heard of that.
Yeah.
$30,000, then $30,000 for tarps, table, and a question mark?
Is that coming out of your park tax? You guys, is that something you guys are gonna recommend to the council?
Yes, so the small slide was in the motion from.
Okay, so basically, once they start operating on their new budget, sounds to me like they're gonna be making a recommendation to you, Kevin, to bring to us to purchase that slide out of their
We
tax
already
records.
did, but I think that's when you're right, Tom, with that executive.
How about the tarps, table, and question mark?
The what?
Tarps, table.
So, in the pool where like the splash pad is, there's no shade anywhere in the pool. So we need the industrial tarps, like the, kind of like you ever see Medlin's and Sullivan.
So lots of sails.
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah. And it also look, symmetric with the pool, make it have color and bring more, more appealing to the curbside.
That's $30,000.
So Tony Hudson found the ones that are industrial that they have like a 20-year warranty on. So instead of buying one every couple of years with the material, there's a better turnaround for that. And that's actually for free of them. Because that way you can have a positionary.
Then there's another $10,000 for a dinosaur park. What is that?
How much?
$10,000 for a dinosaur park?
Yeah, I looked at it, I talked to citizens on, and, nobody's around town, even, nobody's close to us, having any dinosaurs, kids are loving dinosaurs, I talked to people, knocked on a few doors, and asked, how can we improve our park, more people there, make more tourists, and they said, Kevin, I said, huh? They put dinosaurs in there.
Does park board aware of this?
No.
Okay, so what I would do on that, I mean, if the park board wants to make a motion to the committee members for that, then sure.
That'd be fine. That'd be, I can take them to the kids, I mean, Park Board wants to have them, fine, you know, and I look at.
What are you wanting to do with the,
I'll talk to you after the meeting, you know,
Yeah.
we just put it in there just in case you want it, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind allocating things towards different things doesn't mean that those things are gonna happen. We may never make a motion for a dinosaur park, but what you're stating is have it in there.
Yeah, anybody.
So I wasn't clear, you said the $30,000 for the baby slide, that you were taking that out of parks?
So yes, well, we did, not the parks, we did it for the, I think, the motions of the pool, for the budgeting, so.
But it's listed here under capital tax.
Yes, because we're seeing if we can do it with capital tax. If we were able to do it with the capital tax, we would prefer that, because it is maintenance to the pool, like, it's actually going to, it's gonna be in the foundation of the pool.
Understood.
Because sometimes we have, like, with the slide, we have kids like lined up, and we only have one slide comparable to other parks, they have different slides. So we have to do stuff to keep people lining up. And we had a great turnout this year, and there's been so many families that are actually utilizing the pool this year. So I think if we keep improving it, you know, every summer, it's better for the community, it is.
And that was something that can be funded by capital improvement money, as far as you guys are concerned?
The one other thing with the pool that is in your budget, I guess, that concerns me a little bit is your concession stand. It shows that you're purchasing about twice as much as what you're getting return on your investment. So the idea of business is that you're charging more for the concessions that you purchase.
Are you talking about the food?
I guess it says concessions.
So spending $8,000 to make $4,000.
Yeah, you're spending
For
over
regular food,
$8,000.
or is it for concessions, we also put in for like a, remember the ceiling? So I don't.
No, this is products you're selling. You're spending $8,000 on Cokes and candy bar, you're making $4,000.
I didn't make the amount for food purchase.
Well, you probably might want to spend a little time evaluating whether or not you are selling them for an appropriate price.
So Krista did the revenue for it, she did the orders for the soda, and she made the margin for them. I can look at it and see and break it down to see if we should at least have a 38% capital.
Yeah, there's margin. So that number, what you're seeing isn't the cost of goods sold plus return. That can't be.
And it should be, but that's what.
It's gotta include something else.
Because a lot of that food and stuff too hasn't been sold yet, like, you know, maybe orders for food, it's not sold right away, you know, we might have like cases and cases of soda that's not sold until that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
We all know swim board don't make money anyway, and, if we give $1 for a candy bar, I don't care if we sell it for $1 for a candy bar, as long as that child can afford it to eat. I don't need $2 candy bar for it, we don't need to make money on citizens.
Well, we're not losing $4,000.
You know what I'm saying? Come on, let the kids eat.
That just can't be right. And again, maybe it's because that's projected and that's what's been brought in so far, I don't know, but.
Like for soda, I think we bought it for $1.28 and we're selling it for like $2.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have to be making money.
Yeah, they're making money, so that something is not reflected properly.
Because Chris and I went over it, but she made like the profit sheet for it, but I mean, when I looked at even some of them, we were happy to get profit on them.
That's the only question.
So, Ms. Tanya and Jennifer, when do you think that we will need to reconvene for a special meeting to approve the budget and salary schedule and to make motions for both readings for ordinance form? Lance, you'll need till the end of the week, obviously, which is fine. So one evening next week. Be good for you all?
I'm available.
Okay.
I'm not here on Tuesday, except for the 28th.
So not on the 26th or the 28th?
Yeah. But
Well, yeah, I mean.
It's too late to ask you questions then.
yeah, we'll be done.
Do we want to set a date now while we're all here, or do we want to wait? What night could you not make it?
I'm not here Tuesday.
we do it early on the 28th.
Let's just do the 29th. Does that work for everybody? What time do we need to schedule it so everybody can be here with jobs and everything? Jeff, what do you think? 6 o'clock always good for you? 5:30?
5:30 or 6 is fine.
Okay.
I should be done by then.
Let's try 5:30 on Thursday the 29th for the adoption of the budget salary schedule in both readings. Do you need to be here? Do you want to be here?
My question is,
You know,
You didn't make me read them, so.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other budget discussion?
Thank you, ladies.
All right, bill number 2094, is there a motion for the first reading? Motion by Morton, seconded by Cody. All in favor say aye. Opposed. First reading, please, of bill number 2094.
an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Cuba, Missouri, on behalf of said city, to enter into an agreement with PJ Myers Hauling and Excavating LLC for hauling and excavation services related to the 2023 Town and Country Storm Water Improvement Project.
You've heard the first reading, is there a motion to accept? Motion by Tony, second by Grady, poll the council, please.
Best.
Yes.
Holt. Grady.
Yes.
Tony. Martin. Yes. Oakley.
All right, first reading moves with a vote 6-0. Is there a motion for second reading, bill number 2094? Motion by Grady, seconded by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Second reading, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Cuba, Missouri, on behalf of said city, to enter into an agreement with PJ Myers Hauling and Excavating LLC for hauling and excavation services related to the 2023 Town and Country Stormwater Improvement Project.
For the second reading, is there a motion to accept? Motion by Hunt. Second by Grady, poll the council, please.
Oakley.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Tony. Grady. Holt. Best.
Second reading moves with a vote 6-0. Bill number 2094 is now special ordinance 877. Is there a motion for first reading bill number 2095? Motion by Grady, seconded by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed? First reading, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Cuba, Missouri, on behalf of said city, to enter into an agreement with Show Me Petroleum Equipment Company LLC for a new above-ground storage tank system at the Cuba Municipal Airport.
For the first reading, is there a motion to accept? Motion by Grady, second by Honey. Poll the council, please.
Best. Holt. Grady. Tony. Martin.
Yes.
Oakley.
Yes. Okay, first reading moves with a vote 6-0. Is there a motion for the second reading, bill number 2095? Motion by Holt, second by Grady. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Second reading, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Cuba, Missouri, on behalf of said city, to enter into an agreement with Show Me Petroleum Equipment Company LLC for new above-ground storage tank system at the Cuba Municipal Airport.
For the second reading, is there a motion to accept?
Motion.
Motion by Honey, second by Grady. Poll the council, please.
Oakley.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Tony. Grady. Holt. Best.
Yes.
Second reading moves with a vote 6-0. Bill number 2095 is now special ordinance 878. All right, back to real quick, line item 8, water department labor position. Due to what looks like possibility of an approved salary schedule that will reflect a $1.50 increase for all full-time positions and a 7% increase, I think it was, for the two gentlemen that got their recent certifications. The pre-treatment supervisor position would be coming in at,
I do have a question on, is the 7% after the $1.50?
yes.
Okay.
3120, let me go find this new position. One moment, please. New hire, 45, plus 45. So the pre-treatment coordinator position would now be starting at $48,304.05. The individual, 48,304, okay. Need to figure out what Adam's is going to be right now. He's at I'll just tell you right now. I don't know if they want to do it. They not even do motion. He's 37. So our pre-treatment supervisor is currently here. Looks like that position with the new increase is going to go $48,304.05. Looks like the position where they have him under waterworks still in that pre-treatment because he's already taken the pre-treatment job. You've already accepted the pre-treatment coordinator position and you've been training as a pre-treatment coordinator, correct?
You might check what time, because I know it's time, I don't know if you for sure which.
So does that count him becoming a supervisor, Cody?
Yes. So your pre-treatment new hire would be going to $48,304.05. The waterworks operator would be $40,193. So does that answer your question on if you want to continue being the pre-treatment supervisor?
Yeah.
No questions there? Okay. Do we need to make a motion to post for a water laborer?
I'll make it.
Okay. So we have a motion by Copeland and we have a second by Baus to post for a water laborer position to replace Adam since he has moved over to the pre-treatment supervisor position. We'll run that internally and externally. Our next meeting will not be until July 18th because of the holiday. So we can just run that until the 14th at 3 p.m. And then hopefully by that next meeting, we can have maybe a recommendation based upon our applicants.
What about the proclamation? We go with that figure?
We just gotta wait till we pass this budget. And since our meeting is being postponed in July, maybe we could back that up just for the committee to have time to review applicants. So, can we get a motion to post for this water laborer position internally and externally until July the 7th at 3 p.m.? Motion by Honey, second by Copeland. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? July 7th at 3 p.m.
So I had the original motion by Copeland about to post the position running internally and externally.
Until July 7th. Yeah, that's fine. Until July 7th at 3 p.m. Okay, so that is done. With that being said, put in your notes. Don't forget, next Thursday, June 29th, 5:30 p.m. is when we're going to formally adopt our fiscal year budget and salary schedule. It's very important we have to get this done. We won't have any time after that date. And then your next date to remember is going to be July 18th, Tuesday, July 18th at 6 p.m. That will be our regular council meeting for July. Since the first Tuesday is July 4th, no meeting, we'll just have one on the third Tuesday of July. If anything else comes up where we need to have a special meeting, or Laney might reach out to some of us to have a special meeting just to pay the bills, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
That would be July 18th?
July 18th, 6 p.m.
Oh, 6 p.m.
Yep.
Oh,
That's June 29th, that's 5:30. That's all I have, Kevin.
Yeah, that's all I think, Cody. I'm asking to rent the pavilion on the 3rd. We need to figure that out.
Okay, so July, well, we built the pavilion, it's open. We do not have a system in place yet for rentals. We're working on that. It'll be published soon. So anybody that's interested in renting that pavilion, when you contact City Hall, they will provide you updated information as it comes into the winds in the house. I know you're interested in renting it. And we'll get.
And I told you we have you down.
Yeah, I just want you to have the key.
We'll figure it
That's
out.
what we're working on.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. What else you got?
Nothing.
Miss Debbie?
Real quick, David Cuba is curious as to, Billy may know this, those signs they have around town about the street adoption, are those city signs, or are they signs, or they're?
We put some of those up, but as far as I know, none of that is up to date anymore. That's just something.
Right,
that's
so,
out, we know
do they
it's-
belong to the city, I guess?
Yes.
So if he has to have them taken down, that's okay.
They know.
Not along that, thank you so much for the stop signs.
We ended up with about twice that many by the time. we
I
got
bet
the
you did,
contract, so,
yeah,
yes.
thank you so much. Jimmy, thanks for your information today. Jerry, you also wanted to thank you for the plants around town, thank you for watering the plants, and that's all I have.
Steve?
No, sir.
Warren? No. Curtis?
Jimmy, we was talking to you about the trench you wanted.
Yeah.
Say a little bit about that.
I brought it up. Well, what we've had, we do some big jobs, some trenchers. We have two of them. We have a larger trencher, which we can bury 4 inch and a little bit bigger. And we have a smaller trencher that goes 2 inch or less. And it actually went down, so I brought my trencher in to finish the job. Because it was basically us for 2 days do hammering on it with jackhammers, or I could do it within, what I did, 2 hours, 3 hours. I did it through solid rock for about 150 feet, which we look at, that's a job that had to get done. And when that trencher's down, we have nothing to replace it. So I bring mine in. So I'm wanting to know, is it possible that later on when we start like this big subdivision, if it happens again where the city's trencher goes down, if I can bring mine in and get compensated for that piece of equipment? That's, we can't find anything. I've already checked. There's no trencher that size in this area.
If you didn't bring that trencher in, I'd still be there.
In years past, we used to rent a air compressor from Mike Myers when he worked here.
That's true, we used to rent from.
Yeah. I don't see a problem with renting Jimmy's if we need it.
You know, he's gonna take good care of it.
And it's just at that opportune time. It's when we have to have it. It's not me just bring it in on a whim.
You can, probably to make sure that we don't run afoul of our auditors, we should put it out for bid for an as-needed emergency trencher, which I suspect there will be exactly one bid, because I don't think anybody else is gonna have any interest in saying, yeah, I'm gonna same day bring in my trencher. But you need to have a contract in place, and it can only be for the rental of the equipment. Can't be for running the equipment.
Okay, so we have to do it under the contract, and
yeah, because it needs to.
It's got to do a bid process.
It would be best.
So if he needs it tomorrow, he can't use it, so we don't have.
So he can just not get paid.
Which I've already done it, and I don't mind it, but, if it runs into, because I actually use that on other jobs.
So let's entertain a motion to put an ad to paper for, to accept bids for, however you just stated that, Lane, sounded good. It was like emergency same-day need of trencher, for rental of.
It would be a trencher. It can't be a mini hoe, because everybody's already trying to do that stuff.
Okay, and then, for rental for equipment only, no operator fee needed.
And it has to be, it has to cut a ditch of at least 4 inches or more. That's the other crucial thing. It has to be a large ditch.
We have a motion by Tony to run that advertisement. Is there a second? Second by Martin, thank you. We'll run that in the paper for the next 2 weeks until you would normally close it off. Yeah, we can do it the exact same as the other one. That would be fine. Good call. second of March. Turn in sealed bids at City Hall, same as normal. So if you're interested, turn in a sealed bid at City Hall for what that hourly rate or daily rate would be. So we'll include that.
Eventually, that's gonna have to be replaced anyway. Yeah, yes,
It's pretty old. It's done.
That's done. Yeah, let's vote on that. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? There you go. What else you have for us, Jeff?
I just wanna say thank you to the, I just wanna say thank you to the street department for the good job you did on the pavilion out there. Well, my wife and I went out there and looked at it, and just about every screw was perfectly placed. Really good job.
It's a good looking building. The light bulbs are still in place, huh?
You probably jinxed it there.
Is that it, Jeff?
All I have.
Cody, I got one more thing.
Yeah, what you got, Kevin?
All right, y'all know we both built the pavilion in this park. I'm gonna go a little farther now with this pavilion. Some like it, some don't like here. I want to name that pavilion now. Citizens of Cuba pay tax money on that, and all. I think they'd like it to be named. There was designs built made for that pavilion. I'm going to tell the board now. I kept it pretty quiet. Maybe I shouldn't have. Built up. I want to thank the street department for everything they've done. I asked Kim Rodemeyer to go over there, and Dennis Rodemeyer come over and help us out. So Kim came over, she said we need to put a stove here, a table here, a seat here, you know, and she went over 2 or 3 times not knowing what I was planning on doing. I would like for this board to name that Rodemeyer Pavilion for all that Dennis has done, all that Kim has done for the city of Cuba. They helped us pass park tax by letting us have a piece of property to put a walking trail on the hood of the park. I would like to recognize them now tonight. I kept it quiet, only a few knew what was going on. Kim has no idea. Dennis has no idea. Dennis left the worst path. You know, Kim did come over 3 times. What, at least 3 times? Pointed things out that she would like. I did not actually get anything she actually wanted. She wanted 2 barbecue pits there, which I figured maybe the board would go ahead and do that, you know, later on. But I would love to name that. For all that Dennis Rodemeyer brought the industrial park in, for all what he's done, what all Kim's done, you know, Rodemeyer Pavilion. Okay. That's going to be my motion here tonight, and see how you all feel about it. They're great people. They need to be recognized, and we need to recognize people. We also need to recognize Lisa Mabel and Bob and Darlene Mullins on something. I lost a good friend in all 3. I like to recognize them somehow. But tonight, I had 2 motions. I'm going to hold one off and just do the pavilion tonight. Kim did design it. That tells how, didn't she, Bill? Am I right? Yep. She had no idea.
So the motion to
name
dedicate and name the new pavilion at Hood Park, Rodemeyer Pavilion.
I'll second
Rodemeyer Pavilion.
I think that we probably should ask them first because they are aware of that idea and I'm not sure they're on board with it.
Okay.
Yeah. I just think if you're going to put somebody's name on something.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my name on there.
We'll put the bracket.
So maybe perhaps pending their acceptance. Pending their acceptance, and then Kevin, if it goes that far, you can ask them. But pending their acceptance, to have the pavilion named Rodemeyer Pavilion. We have a motion by Copeland and a second by Rouse.
If they're okay with it.
If they're pending their acceptance. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So pending your acceptance, and maybe it'll be the hates is all that counts. Thank you.
Well, Debbie said they're against it. That's fine.
No, I'm not saying they're against it. I think they're hesitant.
Yeah,
well, they shouldn't even know about it.
Well, they do, so you probably should.
Well, pending your acceptance. Pending your acceptance. What else you have, Kim?
He's already done it.
Is that it? Anything else?
I'm good.
Wayne? Motion to adjourn. Motion. Brandon, second by All.